Anybody else have a question in the back?
Yeah. Good for you. I've opened my big mouth, Fran lives next door, he knows that, about this rental thing. I come out of my house, okay? I've almost had my cat hit, I've almost had my grandchildren hit. The noise factor, I live across the pond, nobody comes out of their house. I counted 25 people with garbs or whatever, having some kind of religious thing, and they were in my backyard 2 years ago saying they were enjoying the pond. These people have no morals, no, I don't know how to say it. They don't care about our community. They care nothing. They said to me, where's your amenities? Where's your pool? Where's this? Where's that? They asked me how to get to the beach because I'm out of my house all the time. I'm one with you. And it's true. And the way they drive, now Bike Week. Oh, let's bring up Bike Week. I call security. When y'all are thinking about all this, I'll call y'all in the night when all this happens. And they were racing around when all this, worried about this rental mess. And he told me, you call 911. So my big thing is, I'm totally opposed to this drive around security thing. Come out of your houses. Go down to the beach. Pick up the 3 or 4 bags of trash that they do leave on our beach. You're right. You're right. It is just a plague on our community. And people that are coming in here are seeing it more and more and more. They have no respect. And he's right. You've got to take some action. Everybody's scared of everybody, and I know it would cost us. But other issues cost. They're worried about $4,000 for a party. This is an important issue, people. And when you go to sell your house and there's 25 people schlepping out to the beach with garb or whatever and all this stuff and using our beach, this is an issue. This is a big issue. I'm out night and day, unfortunately. But if you come out, you don't see this. If it doesn't pertain to you, the problem I've had with living here is, if it doesn't pertain to you, forget about it. And that's the attitude that I have perceived by living here. If it's not in your ballpark, forget about it. The 8 cars parked, the middle of the night, the break-ins in the pool area, you know? And nobody cares. This is what I'm getting. And I want to know who is going to care. And you're right, who's not here today? And this gentleman, my friend that lives in Delray Beach, and you're absolutely right. Who cares? That's all I keep asking. Who cares? You don't live there. Oh, I don't have them next door to me. That was one answer. Oh, they're not next door to me. I don't hear them. Well, unfortunately, I do hear them. And I hear all of this. And this is why I've never come to any of these meetings, because it's never what pertains to me that's not important. If it doesn't pertain to y'all or something that's in this community that pertains to you, y'all don't care. And that's what I'm perceiving. You're shaking your head, but this is what I perceive. But it's important to have $4,000 for a party. But I've got all these people and stuff to contend with. So, you know, I'll go for the man that is going to...
What is your... Ask them a question. What is your question to
My question was his. I'm supporting what he's saying.
But I didn't know.
Who cares? Who cares?
What's your name?
Who cares?
So ask them a direct question.
What's your name?
Diane Burns, and I live on the Circle. Who cares? Who really cares? Who wants to really do something about this rental mess?
That's your question.
Diane, I'll start first. I've been basically working on this issue, and I'm not a board member, but I've been working with the board on this issue for the last 8 months. I see it every day.
Mm-hmm.
I hear from my neighbors. They tell me about it.
Mm-hmm.
I witness it. I do ride bikes through Cinnamon Beach area and Ocean Hammock area. I see it over there. I drive my car through that area. You're right. If it's not next to you, no one cares.
Thank you.
Okay? But I really believe that most of the members on the board here do care, and that we're trying to work on a solution and get it done. And I will continue to work on that solution with them and push for changes. I think that the #1 issue right now is occupancy in these homes. Okay? And I'm working with the people that are working on the land development code in the county. It's a huge issue, occupancy. If you're jamming 20 people into a 5-bedroom home,
25.
or 25, you're gonna have huge problems,
Fire.
okay? Not only fire, it's just a party atmosphere.
Okay.
They're treating these homes like they're hotels,
Exactly.
okay?
Exactly.
And I've already had meetings with Sally Sherman, with the county. I expressed my views. I told them that they need to define a single-family home and define a family in their land development codes. The county is really tough to deal with, but I constantly email them, and we continue to have meetings with them, and they're getting the message, believe me, they are. And the county will fail if this community fails. And that's the point I'm bringing across today. They think reducing their budgets by 30% is going to be a lot, but as our property values continue to decrease, they're going to be reducing their budgets by another 20%. They're laying off more people. So it's a very important issue to stabilize this community.
I think it is too. I really do.
Okay, Frank, did you have any?
I don't think there's anyone on the board who isn't very concerned about the issue of rentals. We've been very concerned about it. We're concerned, we're trying to do what we can do in the process. In the street where I live, there are 24 houses, 6 of them are rented. We've had problems with some of them, we've had no problems with others. It's a matter of the behavior of the people. The constant noise is a real issue because properties get utilized more than the average property gets utilized. When you have your grandkids come and they play in the pool, they're only there a little while, but when the rental's there, they're playing at the pool all the time. That's created problems. And our best approach to it, I think, is to try to regulate the behavior. We've been very successful in that most of the time, you read reports when the rover goes around, the person complied. They pointed out a problem, and most people try to do things nicely. We've had little problems here and there. We also, you raised the issue of the beach, but the beach is not our property. The beach is common, it's open to anybody in the state of Florida or anybody in the world can walk on our beaches, and we can't stop what they do on the beaches. We've tried to clean them up and so forth as community efforts, but the beach is still everyone's property and we can't regulate. You know, there's lettings on the beaches, we've had problems with that. But at the same time, we have to realize people do have the right to use that. So it's a very complicated issue. As I say, I support trying to work on every aspect of life safety codes because that's very important. We don't want anybody to be hurt. I mean, as one of our neighbors pointed out in an email he sent to the board, with these situations, it's not if there's going to be an incident, it's when there's going to be an incident, because they will happen. And we have to be aware of that. We're trying to do our best to control the issue. Try to control short-term rentals as much as we can, but we're limited by this current situation. We can't change the laws. We work on it. And as some of you may know, there was a big effort to change the laws in the state, and it failed.
So let's be afraid to do anything
Okay, Linda?
I have a question. For those who were present at the previous meeting, or previous meetings, we sometimes see a little bickering on the board, as opposed to people working together. What would, if you two were elected, what would you do to bring more collaboration with the community and bring more collaboration between the board members themselves?
Okay. Through communications, that's number one. Communications is the key to anything. And I feel that if you don't get feedback from the community and get feedback among yourselves, you can't really reach an agreement collectively. I know I'm not always right, and I know my fellow board members are not going to be always right, but actually we can reach an agreement and a solution to the problem. And I feel that, you know, this current situation that's going on right now, I feel that the board has communicated a lot better than in the past. And I feel that we can reach out to a greater number of property owners and get a better consensus. And by getting a better consensus, we can find a solution and reach an agreement properly. I have no problem working with people. and discussing things with people, and I'm very open to hearing suggestions. I like to listen to people, but I'm not going to be intimidated by people either. I'm not going to back down on things that I really believe in. And if you came to these meetings the last year, you would have actually saw how passionate I am with certain things. And I will continue to be passionate and work with people for the betterment of this community.
Thanks, Ron. Fran?
We have a diverse community, but I think there's many more common interests than there are diverse feelings. And that's been my approach as being on board, is to try to be a compromiser. To work with everybody on the board together. We've had a huge change in the membership of the board from the past year to this year, and yet I think the transition has been handled very well, and we've gotten along fairly well. And if you look at most of our votes, they're pretty much, 5 or 6, or if not everyone in favor. So we've been able to make progress in that regard. I think that's an important aspect for any board member to realize that, sure, you have someone has an issue about this and others have another issue, but we need to work together. And once we make a decision as a board, we need to follow that policy as a board. That's sort of the key to operations. So we need to be policymakers as directors and governors. We don't want to be administrators. I think one of the things that we've seen in our community that we've tried to work on is the fact that, originally was Hammock Beach versus Ocean Hammock. And we're Ocean Hammock, we're not Hammock Beach. And we need to all work together. What's needed to beautify one area is also needed to beautify another area. There shouldn't be any favoritism. Everybody should work together, and that's been my approach, and that will continue to be my approach.
Okay, thanks, Ron. Any further questions? Anybody else?
This is for both board members. Do you believe that renters have the exact same rights in this community as homeowners do?
Talking about transient rentals?
Yeah.
No, they don't have the same rights. And actually, we should have stricter rules for them put in place.
The fact is that our documents say that tenants have every right of the owner.
No,
That's the way. That's what it says in our documents.
Excuse me, I'm a lawyer. I've been through it. This is the biggest. This was started by Ken New. His opinion, it was his personal opinion, that they have the same rights. We've never had a legal opinion on that I'm aware of. And it's nonsense. Renters cannot possibly have the same rights as people who own properties here, pay taxes, pay the homeowners fees. And if you want to spend a little money on lawyers, why don't you do it on that? Because I happen to have researched it, and there's plenty of precedent to the contrary. We can put restrictions. Renters have no more rights than their lease gives them, period. And if they have a lease that says they don't have the right to common beach access periods, or they only have the right to use the facilities in Cinnamon Beach, not elsewhere, that's all they have. That's known as contract law. So if we need a legal opinion, let's get it on that, because we can restrict what renters have. We can restrict them from wandering around through our neighborhood, walking through our houses under construction, seeing who's home and who isn't, having their dogs crap all over our yards and not pick it up. Yeah, we can restrict that. So you're dead wrong. And I suggest that the board, this is not a board meeting, get a legal opinion on that. And I'm glad, as a matter of fact, 2 years ago, I gave the board, 3 years ago, a legal memo on that exact point and was told to mind my own business. Okay? By a former board member who's not on the board anymore. But you're wrong. Ron's right, and let's do something about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other question? Okay, so we stay adjourned, and we'll see you in December at the annual meeting.
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.